the class? No? Okay, so whether you are ready or not, we have to start. Okay, so be ready. Anybody has any questions so far? April 24th is the next exam. So we have, I think, how many more class? Three more class? Okay. So we'll finish the transcription and then maybe if we have time, start the translation. But whatever we cover will be part of the exam. Let's review what we did in transcription. Transcription means we have DNA and one of the strands of the DNA acts as a template to produce the RNA. RNA could be a variety of types, messenger RNA, tRNA and all kinds of stuff. And this is mediated by RNA polymerase. The process is called transcription. And for some of the fibers, the RNA acts as a template to make the DNA with the help of reverse transcriptase. These RNAs act as templates. If it is messenger RNA, it acts as template for the synthesis of protein, which is translation. I think we did the prokaryotic transcription. In prokaryotes, here the promoter, right? Transcription start site where exactly the transcription takes place. The RNA polymerase active site is placed around the transcription start site so that it helps to start the transcription at the proper site. If the transcription is not starting at the expected base pair, correct? Then you have a problem. You are going to get abnormal transcripts which could be degraded or which could be problem. So starting the transcription at appropriate site is very important, and this is coordinated with the help of different promoter elements, which places the RNA polymerase in a right orientation so that active site is transcribed. So in case of prokaryotes, there is -10 region, which is Krivnobox, TAT, and in around -35 region, there is also a conjugate site. So -10 and -35, these are the two conjugate promoter elements present in prokaryotic gene. Does it make sense? We discussed it. And although the intermediate base pair does not involve in binding of the polymerase, but they also is important because if you remove them, if you reduce the space, RNA polymerase cannot start at the appropriate site. Does it make sense? So spacing is also very important. Normally this is a little bit AT-rich so that the melting of the DNA is here. We have different steps in case of prokaryotic polymerization. The sigma factor binds to the promoter, brings RNA polymerase to RNA polymerase in case of bacteria, and we have alpha 2 beta prime. Correct? These 5 they form a complex pre-transcription initiation complex. So sigma factor binds RNA for bind, formation of promoter bound to complex. Now the promoter region needs to be melted. So this is called opening. So that's the open complex. Does it make sense? Once it's open, in presence of ribonucleotide triphosphate, you produce the first dinucleotide, first phosphodiester bond. You don't need a primer. Right? And goes through abortive transcription initiation, eventual elongation and termination. And you want to know details of initiation, details of elongation, details of termination. Correct? What are the factors involved in transcription termination in E. coli? What factors regulate transcription termination? Are you reading? Yes? So you need to read because we went over one is sigma factor, which travels with RNA polymerase, another is the hairpin loop, correct? Followed by poly-U. So read these. We need to know what is the size of a transcription bubble. How big is the transcription bubble? No? Yeah, 8 to 10 base pairs in that region. It has the melted DNA and RNA DNA hybrid with the nascent RNA and RNA polymerase attached to it, correct? Those things you need to study. This is your transcription termination using the sequence, termination sequence. This is your transcription bubble was died in the and where the sigma factor associate running with RNA polymerase to find the transcription termination site. Not sigma factor, rho, correct? We did the eukaryotic transcription. In eukaryote, we have three different polymerases. RNA polymerase 1, 2, and 3. Pol 2 is primarily involved in the transcription of protein coding genes, Pol 3 for tRNA, and Pol 1 for ribosomal RNA. Although there is some crosstalk between these RNA polymerases, but their promoter structure, their protein requirement totally different. I think we did little bit of Pol 2 transcription. Let's go a little bit more detail. RNA polymerase 2 has 12 different subunits. One is a big subunit. One is called RPD1, RPD2, 3, 4, and up to 12. RPD1 is the largest subunit, and every protein has a C-terminal tail, and this interacts with other subunits. Correct? RPD2, 3, 4, and 5. Crystallization of the crystal structure of East RNA polymerase 2, which is conserved in human as well, gave Nobel Prize in 2006 to Roger Kornbach. Roger Kornbach. His father also got Nobel Prize. Who is his father? Of course, another Kornbach, right? Anybody? His father got Nobel Prize. There are a lot of family has multiple Nobel Prize. Correct? How many of you attended last week's Nobel lecture? None of you? That's not so good. That is one of the most best lecture I have ever heard. So you missed it. Okay. He was showing, he's a physicist, studies the black hole and all this stuff, and he was showing the videos how actually black holes are merging and producing gravitational waves. Correct? I think you missed a big lecture. Normally, if there's a famous people, I told you, don't miss the lecture. You learn a lot. Because they don't talk like me in the small data. We did this experiment, this was the observation, correct? They talk a bigger lecture. And that was fantastic lecture. And he was actually showing how they succeeded in measuring the gravitational wave. Very simple. Should I give a lecture? It's very interesting. You read it. He has. I'm not the expert, so don't ask me the questions. Alright? So he has light coming up. There is a detector. There is a mirror. He has two lights. There is another mirror, okay? So light has these phases, correct? And when this light goes here and comes back, and when light goes here and comes back, when they meet in the opposite phase, they cancel each other. So you don't see any light coming out from the reflection. So they have a detector here. So these mirrors are, I think, placed at 3 miles or 3 kilometers far away. And they are sending just to light, laser light. Laser light is coming back, correct? And if they meet in opposite phase, they cancel each other. So you don't detect any light. But if there is a huge gravitational wave which sets the earth, so these mirrors and these actually shakes a little bit, you know. And in that process, the phase of the light, this one and this one slightly changes, correct? Then they don't meet in the opposite phase, and they are able to see the flash of light. Very simple. It's not that simple, correct? But this is how they detected. I thought it was very fantastic seminar because they were able to capture the galaxy formation with the modern telescope, monitoring single black hole merging, and very interesting. So look at some videos of that, or talk to some of our physicists. They will be there. But let's talk about this Nobel Prize. Correct? So this guy, Roger Kornberg, he is a yeast geneticist. I should not comment, but to me he is not the best Nobel laureate I have ever seen. Correct? Because he goes to the transcription meeting, we used to meet him very frequently. There is a lot of interesting thing goes on in conferences. There are a couple of guys running for Nobel Prize. One is called, I am a transcription biochemist, so I know. One is called Bob Roeder. Rockefeller University. Okay, he is one of the pioneers. He is actually the one who purified first time the RNA polymerase II and showed that it could do transcription. And then he purified all these factors, general transcription factors, and so on. So he was getting all big attention and got all the prizes except Nobel Prize, and he was nominated a couple of times. Normally I go to transcription, I'm a correct small person, nobody cares. But sometimes like to stand near the Nobel Prize, correct? So he would not talk to us. Just these are useless guys. And while Roger Kornberg, he never thought that he would get Nobel Prize. His father is a Nobel laureate. You should know the name. Who is his father? Arthur Kornberg. He discovered what? DNA polymerase I. We discussed a couple of days ago, correct? So he purified, Arthur Kornberg purified DNA polymerase I. His son is well known in the community. He does yeast genetics. It's the same yeast which we eat in the bread, correct? He look at the genetics, look at the transcription, okay. Okay, I don't have as much respect for East geneticists. Don't tell those people, alright? Because they go East and I study human. Different level. Correct? Anyhow, this guy was East geneticist. You can go and talk to him sometimes if you like and things like. But when Nobel Prize was awarded to him, he was not talking to us anymore. Okay? Whereas Bob Reuter, who was not talking to us, he did not get Nobel Prize, got a little bit frustrated. Now he starts to talk to us. Right? It's very interesting the way it goes. But I think this guy has more contribution, at least deserved shared Nobel Prize compared to Roger Kornberg, who got the Nobel Prize. He purified the RNA polymerase II multiprotein complex from yeast. He could grow a lot of yeast, correct? So he could purify and put into the X-ray diffractometer, which have a crystal, and he is the first one to report the X-ray crystal structure of RNA polymerase II. It was very important. It's a milestone because people are studying transcription in solution, so really all theoretical, but he was showing that this is how the RNA polymerase looks like, DNA enters and so on and so on. That helped to detect some of the drug binding site, developing drug. So it has some implications. And here his father's support for the Nobel Prize. So why not human? This was the yeast. Why not human RNA polymerase II? It's very difficult to isolate. Correct? For crystal structure, you need large amount of protein to crystallize, but it was very difficult to grow such a huge human cell culture and purify enough RNA polymerase II so that it can crystallize. Does it make sense? So he actually used the yeast system, but yeast and human RNA polymerase II, many of these proteins are very similar. So yeast eukaryotic, it doesn't matter, yeast or human, they have 12 different subunits. One of the largest subunit is called RPD1. Every protein has a C-terminal domain, which is called CTD. Correct? Very interesting, in case of RNA polymerase, the CTD has some repeat sequence, YS, CTS, yes, the 7th peptide motif repeated. In the C-terminal domain of RNA polymerase II, which is called CTD of RNA polymerase II, has the heptapeptide repeat YS, CTS. Yes, there is 1 serine, 2, 5, and 7 position. And this heptapeptide repeat motif is repeated many times throughout the evolution. Like in human, we have 52 such repeats. Whereas in yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, we have about 26 repeats. But repeats are there, just the numbers are changing depending on the organism. Does it make sense? So if something is conserved and repeated throughout the evolution, this has some significance. Molecular evolution, correct? Otherwise it will be eliminated out of the evolution system. So this has some significance. So if you look at the repeat motif, there is something one can control. What is the something one can control? What do you see? What do you see? I see a big bird looking at me. Correct? You saw the child's paper, the books. I see a big bird looking at me. What do you see? Correct? You don't even study those books or what? What do you see here? No? Okay, proline, we see there are two proline. What else?
Probably hydrogen bonds.
Hydrogen bonds. You guys have too much chemistry. Good. What else?
There's a lot of cysteine.
Lots of cysteine. Where is cysteine?
The S.
S is not cysteine. There are a lot of S, that is true. But S is not cysteine. S is serine. Correct? What is cysteine? See, if you took biochem 1, biochem 2, biochem 3, biochem 4, and still you don't correct the amino acid, it's a problem. You need to correct it, correct? So that is true, there are several serine. What is special with serine? What is that? I did not get it. It has an alcohol group. So what? Polar. So what? Alright? What happens to serine hydroxyl group? Deprotonation, which is true, it can act as nucleophile. But one of the most important thing happens to serine is it gets phosphorylated. So with the kinase, this gets phosphorylated and you need some kinase. What is the function of phosphorylation? You need ATP and kinase to phosphorylate, and this phosphorylation, this was charge was surface charge was 0, here it is -2. There is a huge change in isoelectric point, correct, on the surface charge of the protein. Now it could interact with many other proteins which may have positive charge. Does it make sense? So phosphorylation of the serine makes the molecule negative surface charge, and that creates a binding site for many proteins. In fact, you are right that there are multiple serine residues. Whenever you see a serine, biochemists loves because they think it's a kinase site. Phosphorylation, dephosphorylation, correct, will regulate something. In fact, in case of serine 5 phosphorylation, CTD serine 5 phosphorylation is linked with transcription initiation. So this serine phosphorylation is required for initiation of transcription in eukaryotic system. Does it make sense? Serine 2 phosphorylation is required for transcription elongation. So serine 5 phosphorylation controls the transcription initiation in eukaryotes, and serine 2 phosphorylation is involved in elongation. Beyond this transcription initiation and elongation, so when there is a transcription initiation, there are a lot of proteins are getting recruited to the promoter, correct? When transcription is elongating, other than polymerase, there are many other proteins which help the elongation. Those are called elongation factors. Okay? Because ultimate goal of the transcription factor is to appropriately initiate and also complete. Completion means you have to do the appropriate. Correct? Perfect elongation till it reaches to the end. If there is abnormal elongation, your transcript will be premature and you don't care. Does it make sense? So this CTD of RNA polymerase II actually coordinates many of the transcription elongation events. Okay. When I was a postdoc, I worked in a Howard Hughes Medical big lab where I was actually purifying the RNA polymerase II from human cells for reconstituting the transcription in vitro. So it's about, I used to grow about 300 liters of human cell culture. Okay. From there, we get about 10 grams nuclear extract, nuclear. And from 10 grams, we get about 1 milligram RNA polymerase. Okay. So it's a big. Normally, I have to trap myself inside the cold room for 3 days, 3 nights. Huh? Yeah, to get that 1 milligram protein. No, it takes about a month to get there. Okay, but first column purification is 10 gram nuclear extract goes to a column, and that column takes about 3 days. So you have to do, of course, in the cold room. So you cannot stop in the middle of the night because I have some party going on. Correct? So normally we used to do 2 people together, then one night for me, another night for somebody else. Does it make sense? So that expensive. In fact, if we screw up these 10 grams of nuclear extract, it's a lot of money, couple of $100,000, correct? So normally people will be fired on the next day. So that's how, and I decided that I will do some eukaryotic transcription here at UPR, but that much money cannot be supported. Anyway, so this, but when you purify at the end of 3 weeks, you purify 1 milligram, and their function is active. Wow. Right? You feel satisfied. So, RNA polymerase II, the C terminus has repeats. Repeats is 52 in human and 26 in yeast, and serine 5 phosphorylation marks the transcription initiation, serine 2 phosphorylation marks the transcription elongation, serine 7 is not that much important. CTD coordinates many transcriptional events. In fact, this is a slide 15 years ago I presented in the department when I was going for job interview. Okay, so there is something Wall2 is sensitive to a compound called alpha amanitin. How many of you like to eat mushroom? Mushrooms. Good. How many of you like to eat wild mushroom?
You bet.
Don't go and pick up some wild mushroom. I have a lot of stories. Correct?
You'll be used to eating.
I come from an area, it's a tropical area, and there are a lot of people who don't have a lot of money, poor people. They go to the forest, correct? They go to the forest to collect honey, Sometimes they go to collect honey but never came back because Royal Bengal tiger has eaten them. So people, poor people go to the forest to collect wild honey so that they can sell, but they never came back because Royal Bengal tiger has eaten them. Okay, or these nasty crocodiles, but still people go, believe me. Still people go because that's their life, that's how they earn money. Okay, so some people go to collect the wild mushroom because in rainy season there's a lot of wild mushroom comes up and they pick up this mushroom and they are very, very tasty. They are big, very tasty. And we always love these mushrooms, right? Tasty big mushroom. But what happens? Once in a while, some of these mushrooms are poisonous. You cannot really distinguish which one is good but which one is poisonous. Correct? So sometimes people will buy nice mushroom, who can eat, and next day everybody is in the hospital. Some of them go to heaven directly. Correct? These mushrooms has a poison. Correct? Anybody knows the poison? This particular compound is called alpha-amanitin. Okay, so alpha-amanitin is the active poison present in some of the wild mushrooms. You don't get the mushroom which you buy in the superstore; those are good quality. Good quality, not the quality, non-poisonous, I will say. Okay, so some of these wild mushrooms has this alpha-amanitin. It's an octapeptide, and basically it inhibits the function, mechanism of action of this poison, which it binds to the RNA polymerase 2, and it inhibits. So as soon as we consume this alpha-amanitin containing poisonous mushroom, it inhibits the transcription and people start vomiting and all kinds of stuff. People die. Maybe here, some people, these days less because they go to immediately hospital, but earlier days, some people used to die. So that's, since I learned that alpha-amanitin is the one, these days I don't buy those big mushrooms which are coming from the wild market. Alright? So it's important to know whether you should use this mushroom or not, but people do not know. You cannot distinguish. So, alpha-amanitin, Pol2 is most sensitive to alpha-amanitin, and it is part of some of the angel mushrooms. They look beautiful. Correct? So, transcription by Pol1, Pol2, Pol3. We are talking about transcription by Pol2. There are some of the slides. Each Pol2 consists of about 10 different subunits, RPB1 to 10. RPB1 has a C-terminal domain containing the heptapeptide repeats. Right? And this is critical for controlling the transcription initiation and elongation event. If you remove this 52 or 26 repeat from yeast, you can mutate it, correct? Yeast manipulate. This yeast does not survive. That means you need these repeats. So, we discussed this particular slide, the steps or mechanism of transcription by RNA polymerase 2. You can see this is one of the review articles I wrote when I was a postdoc in Danny Randberg's lab. I encourage you to read. This is very good. It gives you although it's 15 years or 10, 15 years old, but this is very, very good. in terms of understanding the basics of transcription, we have a promoter, we have a data box, it is recognized by TF2D, which contains PVT, correct? We want this thing, which recruits the following transcription factors, which are called general transcription factors. And we have TF2D, TF2B, TF2F actually is called RNA polymerase 2. Okay, and then TF2E and TF2H. TF2H is actually the kinase which phosphorylates E is the kinase. CTD, serine high specific kinase. So that's why once TF2H is recruited, it phosphorylates, TF2H is recruited, it phosphorylates serine 5 of CTD, initiates the transcription, initiation event. Does it make sense? So once transcription is initiated, it goes to the promoter clearance, short transcripts are formed. There is something called mRNA capping. We will talk about that maybe next class. mRNA gets capped. Once all these things are done, it goes into the elongation phase. Elongation phase is very similar. Chemistry is very similar to prokaryotes, but in human it's much more complex. There are a lot of many proteins. There are many elongation factors gets recruited, which helps the completion of the transcription. So longer and longer transcripts are formed. Termination is not as simple as prokaryote, very complex and poorly understood. The transcription termination happens, and at the end of transcription termination, the nascent RNA gets polyadenylated. Lots of A are added at the end of the 3' end of the transcript. So this 3' polyadenylation and 5' capping, this one, this is required for the stability of the mRNA. Okay, let's go to the capping and polyadenylation part. Now, we will come back to this lac operon little later, next class. This is called post-translational transcriptional processing of mRNA in eukaryotes. The other class we discussed the difference between prokaryotic genes and eukaryotic genes, correct? Prokaryotes is polycystonic, eukaryotic is monocystonic, correct? Single gene is coded by the single promoter. And eukaryotic genes are intergenes. There is exons and introns, correct? The introns are intervening sequence and exons are protein coding sequence, so these exons needs to be removed. Eukaryotic cells, this is mRNA coming from the gene. You see, this is the promoter of the gene. Transcription start site exon 1, exon 2, exon 3, exon 4, and so on. This is stop and polyadenylation signal, and there are introns 1, 2, 3, and so on. Introns are intervening sequence. Sometimes protein coding sequence is 1000 base pair, but the actual gene length is 100,000. Does it make sense? And in eukaryote, you see that. The big, at the DNA level, it's a pretty big gene, 100,000 nucleotides, but that codes on the small protein, maybe 1,000. So 99,000, right? base pairs which are present in the intron, they have to be transcribed into the whole pre-mRNA, and then the intron has to be removed. This green part has to be removed so that exons can be connected to produce correct translation substrate. Does it make sense? So RNA polymerase transcribe the large gene for what? If it is not useful, correct? Why should it transcribe? Why the evolution has first of all kept these introns? So for a long time, people thought these introns has no function because eventually it is eliminated out of the protein. Only function people, biologists like is that maybe, correct, it is involved in diversified proteins. So here you are connecting exon 1, 2, 3, 4. But sometimes you can omit exon, you can have exon 2, 3, and 4. Does it make sense? It is called alternative splicing. You can splice in such a way that from the same pre-mRNA, you can produce different isotype or subtype of the same protein. That's called isoform. So we have variety of tissues, correct? Someone is nerve, someone is muscle, someone is bone, all the same genetics, but they function very differently because they produce different proteins. Does it make sense? And these sometimes you need some of the enzymes in all these proteins, but they express different subtypes, isoforms, and that's how they differentiate cell type, tissue type, and so on. And this alternative splicing helps to produce different proteins from the same gene. Does it make sense? So, introns, people thought it is involved in protein diversification, isoform via alternative splicing, which is still true. But now, emerging studies suggest that introns also codes for non-coding RNA. The introns are first spliced to give you some specific non-coding RNA. And these non-coding RNA coming out from introns controls the stability of these amino or the function of the protein. So introns not only involved in diversification but also involved in controlling the mRNA stability, function, protein function, and so on. Does it make sense? The introns are critical, so they are not useless at all. Anything which is present in the cell, I don't think any of it is useless. All of it has something to do, some meaning. Sometimes we don't understand, and sometimes if we don't understand, we say garbage. Student comes with something else, I say, your hands are very bad. So, ignore. That's how the non-coding RNA was not discovered until recently, which are abundant in the cell and very important. Correct? So, this is your pre-mRNA, direct transcription from DNA, which has a introns and exons. Also, it has the mRNA cap. Cap is 7-methyl guanosine, addition at the 5' end. And 3' end, we have the poly-A tail. It's about 100 to 400 nucleotide long poly-A tails. This cap as well as these poly-A tails are required for the stability of the transcript, nascent transcript. Okay, let's see how much detail I want to go. We don't want to go too much detail. The capping, mRNA capping, this is actually too much detail I don't want to. So mRNA capping, this is the mRNA structure. Okay, this is the first nucleotide. and this nucleotide is added with a 7-methyl-guanosine residue. This is RNA 5' end, which is attached to 7-methyl-guanosine. This is called cap, mRNA cap. If you see this one, this is not a regular dinucleotide. There are 3 phosphates in between, and these are 5' to 5' connection instead of normal 3' and 5' connection. Does it make sense? Okay. So this capping is required for the stability. I actually had the opportunity to study this capping with a very important person who is called Aaron Sutkin. He is the discoverer of mRNA capping. He did not get Nobel Prize, but very high profile scientist, very nice gentleman. Okay. So he discovered the mRNA capping for the first time, and lot of stuff was studied. And we had a paper, PNS, which is highly prestigious, and he was one of the PNS members. Okay, so mRNA capping is very important, and one of the way when there is viral infection, right? Virus is coming, it has only one RNA inside and a small coat, it attacks the human cell dies. Correct? It takes over the human cell. How come such a simple organism takes over such a sophisticated human cellular machinery? Right? Virus is very simple, and human cell is much more evolved, much more smart, much more sophisticated with all this stuff. Then how come virus goes and kills the human cell?
Is it still its capping?
Huh?
Is it still its capping though?
What it does, it has an enzyme which removes the cap from all the mRNA. Just one enzyme. Which once infected, it removes the cap from the mRNA. If the cap from the mRNA, eukaryotic cell mRNA is gone, all the mRNA gets degraded and cell dies. Does it make sense? So it is one of the very interesting mechanisms how a simple virus can take over such a sophisticated human cell, because it holds an enzyme which hydrolyzes this cap, decapping enzyme. Does it make sense? And so one of the therapies for viral therapy is inhibit this decapping enzyme. Correct? If cap is removed, then human cell is no more human cell. Correct? It's a dead cell. So that's how it takes over. Don't go into detail, but know what is cap, right? And how it invades, how the virus invades human cell. There is enzyme called capping enzyme in the cell which adds the cap. So similar to cap, the 3' end polyadenylation of the eukaryotic mRNA. All the eukaryotic mRNA has 3' end is poly A tail. That's how we can purify the eukaryotic mRNA. Correct? You study the cDNA library synthesis in Biochem 1. cDNA library synthesis. You cannot say no. It is there. Correct? You have not studied? No? You got to. These are all, how can you miss? Okay, so I think I discussed even in this class at some point. So you have, let's say, a cell, so let's say prostate cancer cell, you isolate the total RNA, isolate total RNA. Total RNA means it will have mRNA, tRNA, ribosomal RNA, correct? If you run the total RNA in agar gel, you will see two big blobs. These are ribosomal RNA. Rest of the RNA you don't see normally. Because ribosomal RNA, they are abundant, big, you can see them. We will talk about ribosomal RNA when we talk about protein synthesis. So, these has all the RNA, but it also have mRNA which have poly A pair. Correct? So now pass this mRNA to a column. The column contains some oligonucleotide which contains DT, oligo DT. Does it make sense? Yes or no? So if you put all these RNA into this particular column which has oligo DT sequence embedded on some beads, so they are attached, what will happen? Once you load these RNA, somebody will be going out, go through, they did not bind, some drug will bind. Who will bind? Because you have poly T, correct? T, and G said A, all of the RNA which has the oligo tail, A tail, poly A tail, they are going to retain into the column. They separate the rest. So basically what you are telling is that you have isolated all the mRNA, and now we know there are some others, but most of the mRNA you have purified. Does it make sense? Once you have made the mRNA, you isolate these mRNA, correct? Now you can reverse transcribe them into complementary DNA. You add a oligo DT primer. This is 2' end, this is 5, this is 3. Does it make sense? You add DNPP, deoxynucleotide triphosphate. You need a polymerase. What type of polymerase you need? You will get, this is your RNA. So you get a RNA DNA hybrid. Does it make sense? This is your RNA, mRNA, and this is your DNA. What polymerase you need? You need a reverse transcriptase. Reverse transcriptase. Does it make sense? So, if a prostate cancer cell may have 2000 mRNA, I am giving an example, it may have more, correct? So, if you do this process, at the end, you have this, all the RNA is reverse transcribed into corresponding. This is complementary DNA, that's why it is called cDNA. Complementary to mRNA. Does it make sense? Actually, it is actually cDNA library because it has all the cDNA which are complementary to all the mRNA present in that particular cell or tissue which you started with. Does it make sense? Yes or no? So now let's say this you started with prostate cancer cells. Now this is a cDNA library which is specific to prostate cancer. Now you compare this cDNA library with a normal prostate cell. Does it make sense? So if you compare with a normal prostate, then you compare the gene expression profile, you will be able to tell which gene is overexpressed in that particular disease. This is how actually cDNA library are very, very important. Does it make sense? In fact, in my lab, research starts with making the cDNA library. We isolate, we treat the cells with different hormones, nutrients, isolate the RNA or tissue, correct? And analyze the expression profile. Now we are getting into some research. I tell a little bit story. We are going a little slow, correct? But some of the stories are good. So right now we are, my lab does a lot of the gene expression regulation in eukaryotic cells. We are getting heavy on non-coding RNA. We have a research collaboration with College of Nursing, where they are physiologists, very excellent physiologists. They are able to give tiny amount of drugs, and some of you may volunteer as a normal patient. Correct? The cardiovascular risk is high in certain ethnicity over others, like African American population are at higher risk of cardiovascular disease compared to white Americans. Okay? South Asian population like India, China, correct? We are at high group of type 2 diabetes. And when these people are treated, if I get diabetes, likely I will get when I'm a little bit old, correct? I'm in the borderline right now. But if I get, the chances of getting type 2 diabetes is more difficult to treat. Okay? So there are some genetics. When the patients are treated with a drug, different ethnic person respond differently. Okay? So that's why same drug, whether it is cardiovascular, whether it is hypertension or diabetes, same drug may not be ideal drug for everybody. Does it make sense? Because we have different genetics, different epigenomics. So there is a need to find out which drug is suitable to me. Does it make sense? And I had little bit hypertension. I went to the doctor. My doctor loves giving medicine. Correct? Not only my doctor. Doctor loves giving medicine. As soon as you see a person, they make sure that you are a patient. You have forms of disease. You need one for pain medication, one for hypertension, one for headache. And I know people take early morning 12 medicines with a glass of water. These hypertension, all the package. They look, oh, you have hypertension, one medicine. You have blood pressure, one medicine. I know a person. Lot of stories that take some time, correct? He's a little bit senior person, and he was having some kind of mild temperature all the time. It's not a high fever, it's not 101 or not even 100, it's close to 99. And it does not go away, correct? If it is a fever, infection, it will go high and then come down. If you take Tylenol, it becomes normal, but the temperature is not going away for a couple of months. So if temperature is not becoming normal for a couple of months, it's a big concern, correct? What are the suspects, you think? What does people suspect? There may be chronic infection inside, correct? So then you treat with antibiotic or viral infection, it should at least control. It does not happen. So what? Then what? Huh? Could be metabolic disorder, that's what you are telling. That is also possible. People also suspect cancer. Okay? Something is going and it's not going, they go for screening, and sometimes people will find that they have cancer is nothing internal, correct? Metabolic disorder, so people who get diagnosed with cancer. So he was fine, no infection because antibiotic is not helping. Nothing is working and no cancer. But still the high temperature is still there and it's bothering. So no way, because there is no therapy. What to do? So then he met some guy who is not a knowledgeable professional doctor. He asked, what are the medications you are taking? He said, I take one for blood pressure, one for cholesterol, one for, correct? Half a dozen medicine early in the morning, middle of the night, middle of the day, and afternoon. That's how he is living for many years. And he said that I know you love taking medicine and you have to take medicine because you have so much stuff. Can you stop taking the medicine for a few days and see? Okay. He had no other option. He said, okay, let's try. And he stopped the medicine for a few days, his temperature became normal. So these are all the side effects. Don't stop taking medicine if you're taking it. Don't listen to me, okay? So these are sometimes, right? We create the medicine, we create the disease. If we are extreme, if we need the medication, we should. Otherwise, my philosophy, it does not have to be your philosophy, avoid the medication. Let's live normal, let's have fun, correct? Let's do exercise, let's dance, jump, correct? That's the reason. Okay, so why are we talking all this stuff? Where did we start? And there is two. Polyadenylation, viral fever, correct? Polyadenylation is critical. So all the mRNAs are polyadenylated. Oh, we did here, correct? We did the cDNA synthesis, and it's very important for studying these. And the point which I was telling, that the new research direction, that along with genetics, the drug response, correct? Potential risk of the disease, therapeutic outcome depends, correct? So now what we are doing, a new project which I am undertaking, that isolate the blood sample from these different group of ethnicity, both normal and severe stage of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular, all combination of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular, isolate the blood sample and look for non-coding RNA because they are abundant, correct? So we are getting into the non-coding RNA profiling for these and try to find maybe a particular non-coding RNA based biomarker which can tell you that this drug is suitable, this patient is at high risk of this group, correct? Because of this non-coding RNA biomarker, and this drug is basically more biomarker and personalized therapy. So those are, I think, next 10, 20, 30 years, we will see a lot of these personalized medicines are coming up. Okay, so eukaryotic mRNAs are polyadenylated and it's required for the stability. We could use this polyadenylation to our advantage to screen for gene expression in the library, correct? The poly-A-tail is about 100 to 200 nucleotide long, and there is another enzyme which adds this poly-A-tail. It's called poly-A polymerase. It's not RNA polymerase 2. Poly-A polymerase adds this A residue at the end of the mRNA, and poly-A-tail enhances mRNA stability. So the function of mRNA capping, what are the functions of cap and poly-A-tail? One of the functions is stability, correct? Stability. Also it has other functions, but one of the major functions is stability. If you remove the poly-A-tail or 5' cap, mRNA becomes degraded. Does it make sense? So all eukaryotic mRNA must be capped and polyadenylated. Once it is capped and polyadenylated, transcription is complete. It goes for splicing. Splicing means removal of the introns connecting the exons. There are many splice sites. I'm not getting into detail. There are consensus sequences at the splice sites in vertebrates. This is the junction between the exon and intron. Wherever there are a lot of spliceosome enzymes which help hydrolyzing the introns out and connecting. Does it make sense? That's splicing. And they recognize the splice site and remove the intron and reconnect the exon. I'm not getting detail of the splicing. So here it is. Let's go to this slide. So as soon as the transcription has initiated, 5' end of the mRNA is getting ready for capping. As soon as the 5' end is free, it gets capped. Once transcription is terminated, it gets polyadenylated. They are released from the polymerase and spliced. Once it is spliced, the RNA is transported into the cytoplasm, correct, where the translation takes place. Does it make sense? So, in eukaryote, whole transcription, capping, polyadenylation, all these things happen within the nucleus. And then the RNA is transported out to the cytoplasm, where translation takes place. I want to touch base little bit more. I may take one more class on this. Okay, I think we stop here today. Next class, we will talk about the transcription regulation in prokaryote and briefly touch transcription regulation in eukaryote. We are not going detail on eukaryote, but there is something very distinct and well studied in prokaryote we will go over, and that is the end of the